Welcome back to the Curator Shelf, and yes, you are joining me on a bright September day in Brussels, and I am filming this video early in the day actually. I just thought it'd be nice to capture the light while I can. I do have the window open, so just excuse me if there's just too much noise. It's just, I can't keep it closed, it's too warm for that. So yeah, and yeah, I absolutely love autumn because it's just, I love the equinox. I love the fact that the nights get longer, and sometimes it's a very cozy feeling. And yeah, I'm someone that just loves when there's a change of season. My favorite moments are always in the cardinal months when we're actually going into a season. For some reason, I just love it. Mutable and cardinal areas, even though I'm actually a fixed sign. So there you go. There goes the irony of it. But yeah, I love the months where basically we're coming out of a season and going into a season. So without further ado, this video is a bit of a pick and mix, is what we call over in the UK definitely, and over here as well in Belgium. It's when you have kind of like a melange, a mix of different topics. So I'm going to be talking about my planning for this period for this channel, some of the comments that I've picked up, and also kind of like a few of the topics that I've kind of like covered before when it comes to purchasing books, tarot decks, oracle decks, that kind of thing, but going on that basis as well a little bit further, and then also kind of like decks that might be good for this season when we're going out of summer and coming into autumn, so, or the fall in the US as you say. This is also of course a change of time for the southern hemisphere. Oh my god, you guys are going to get a lot more sunshine, it's going to be warm. Then I know it starts to get really, really hot for the southern hemisphere when it comes to Yule, so it's a complete change of season in that sense. But yeah, I'm going to be speaking from a northern hemisphere perspective. So autumn 2021, I have been thinking of kind of like some of the themes that I want to cover. One of them is shadow work. Now, I've heard this term so much already. I heard this term a lot before I actually even picked up tarot and oracle decks in the last year again, and it kind of like had me a bit puzzled, and then I kind of like realized what it was, and I'm going to do kind of like in October if I can, and I'm really trying to think through how I can construct this, but kind of like a series of videos where I address my thoughts around shadow work, doing shadow work, and making it as simple as possible, because I don't think it really needs kind of like people to go into the mad frenzy sometimes that I see with especially with those that are new to the area, thinking that it's going to be some kind of really scary stuff in that sense. So my thoughts around shadow work and the fact that it needs to be accessible for everyone, because at the end of the day, it's stuff that we're all encountering actually. And even those who think I don't do any shadow work, it's like, but in order to live in a society, we are encountering it anyway. So rather than thinking that, oh my God, I have to do shadow work, it's more kind of like, how do I process my shadow and the things that come up, and how do I move on from there? So it's a bit more in that sense. It's kind of like what I would call the solution. So yeah, hopefully I'm making sense. I'm going to use October as kind of like a testing period. And if it's something that people like, then I might be able to go into it further in 2022 and then start to really deconstruct it a lot more in depth. So that's one thing. The other thing is what will I be doing in terms of, right, so for me, Samhain and what I would call All Hallows Eve is like a fantastic time of year. It's the week after my birthday, so I come up to my birthday at the end of October, and then of course we have the 31st of October and 1st of November, which I absolutely love. The mist, the environment, the coolness of the city, I really, really love it. The fact that, you know, that darkness in the forest, in the woods, it's my kind of thing. And what I was thinking was perhaps also to start sharing the kind of decks that I like to use when it comes to working up to that kind of like end of October period. And I know it sounds really crazy, but I love this period. I love this part of the year so much that I try to extend it as much as possible, because then there's Yule, and I love kind of like November and December as well. Yeah, I'm definitely someone that loves the autumn energy. So let me show you actually the decks that I have kind of like, I'm doing another deck dive for this month, which will be at the end of this month, that reveal. But these are decks that I'm using in between. Now, the Hush Tarot I picked up last year when I came back to tarot and oracle decks. It's a deck that the Hush Tarot, sorry, before I forget, is by Jeremy Hush, who's an artist. Now, this is a deck that I have, let me put it this way. I didn't immediately just gel with it. That's the best way I can put it. It's a mass market deck. It is US games and it's retailing around 20 euros, I think, which is about 25 USD. So standard US games deck, and it comes in this, I don't know how you can say it, but pull closure kind of like box. So yeah, that's how it comes. Very sturdy box, very good quality, excellent quality, cannot fault US games. Now, one of the reasons that put me off this deck, I mean, from the images, you'll see already that it is quite a striking deck. This is the back. And it is, and I think, yeah, that is reversible. So this is the back. Now, one of the things that, the deck is absolutely stunning when it comes to the art. And the quality of the cardstock is very thick, it's very sturdy, it is shiny, but it is very good quality US games cardstock. And the deck is striking. I think it is very provocative. I think it brings up emotions. I think it's a very useful tool if you want to do shadow work. That's how I'm going to put it. But you don't necessarily need this. The deck, the way that the borders have been done, they kind of like are there, but then they allow still the image to flow right into the edge of the card. I love the fact that it's very discreet when it comes to the card suit and the number. So here we go. We have the Four of Pentacles, if I'm right. Yep, that's the Four of Pentacles. It is visually a stunning deck. There are a few reasons that I am having difficulties with this deck. One is connecting the meaning of the cards with the images that are portrayed and used for the cards. For example, the World card. I am still struggling a little bit with that, and I can go into depth in another video on it. But that's one aspect. The other aspect I have, now I'm born into a Hindu family, so I have some understanding and knowledge of the religion and the background. One of the things that I found really, really difficult to palette was there's a card in here which is of Hindu gods, and the actual booklet has completely mislabeled them. So let me see if I can get to them. But when I saw that, I found that really, really appalling, to be honest with you. They're very well-known Hindu gods. They're not something obscure. They're not something that they've taken from one part of India that's not known. These are gods that are known throughout the whole of India. And that mistake really left me kind of like, you know, I'd just come back to tarot, and it kind of like left me sitting there thinking, well, surely somebody checks when they do these guidebooks. But the reason why I point it out is because it really did. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the card now. So, yep, here it is. So this is Radha and Krishna, and they actually label this as Ram and Sita, which was for me really, really hilarious. I mean, like, they really are just completely different, and their reincarnations are different. What they stand for when it comes to the Hindu religion, and their role within the religion, their role in their incarnations is very, very different. And so it just kind of like flummoxed me when they made such a mess of it. And so for me, you know, there is something about this deck which just kind of like, it just irked me. But I've tried to put that aside because I do want to give the deck a bit of a fair shot. And I do have to say the images are very, very provocative. If you don't have that slightly bad taste in your mouth like I do with this one, unfortunately, I think this is a great autumn deck. Now, the thing is though, is that how does one connect the the image with the original Rider-Waite-Smith, I mean, sometimes they are just really, really far off. For me, they just really are far off from the original. For example, this is the Ten of Cups. The Ten of Cups for me always represents a feeling of emotionally coming together with the people that we love, celebration. It's a real all-rounder card in that sense. It's a real family card. It's, you know, the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith always has children in it and the rainbow and so forth. And I'm not saying that, of course, every creator has to replicate that, but for me, it's really, really challenging sometimes to draw upon this card and then what the original meaning is and think, when I see this, what do I see when I see Ten of Cups? So that's where I'm kind of like, I'm struggling a little bit with this. You know, this is the Four of Swords. Ironically, actually, I think this is a bit closer to the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith meaning. So yeah, I know that I understand that these are images which have already been created and then used for the deck. So I think that's where sometimes it's a little bit kind of like, not sure if they actually meet each other in that sense. But yeah, I mean, if you're someone that wants to work with a deck in terms of maybe more from an oracle point of view, where it just invokes emotions, it invokes feelings, if you're okay with them thinking like, for example, this is the, and we just want to make sure I get it right, this is the Four of Cups, you know, and the Four of Cups is, for me, it's about focusing on things, but new ideas coming in, not necessarily seeing the new idea coming in, really being within my own thoughts and not being open to seeing that something new is happening. But if I can just take those keywords, see this, and somehow be able to extrapolate from there, then why not? But this is something that I just want to mention with this deck. I still think that the images are so beautiful that it's just so hard for me to say, I don't want to work with this deck. I just want to keep trying, I guess. That's how I feel. But yeah, this is currently a suggestion, but you know, just I'm giving this a kind of like a tepid review right now, but it's just my own personal thoughts and feelings. If you're someone that does connect with this deck and you love it, that's great. You know, if you can just take what you're seeing and be able to really read with it and create that story for your querent, that's beautiful. Or for yourself, that's beautiful too. So, you know, I don't want to, I'm someone that doesn't like to beat up decks, to be quite honest with you. I'm just not of that kind. But I do want to sometimes sometimes when I have a difficulty in connecting, because there might be somebody else who's in that situation and then they might think, okay, like, you know, I'm not the only one as well. So yeah, that's the Hush Tarot by Jeremy Hush. And I think US Games, you know, in terms of the quality of the deck, it's just awesome. So can't fault them there. And another favorite of mine, which I'm currently using for like, so I am part of several Facebook communities, and one of them I do kind of like a monthly spread, and that's with Boho Tribe. I do a monthly spread, and a deck that I use for my monthly spreads is the Wildwood Tarot. That's what I've been using kind of, I think, July, August, and now September as well. So this is a deck, mass market again. The publishers are Sterling Ethos, and it retails around anywhere like 15 to 20 euros, which I think is about 20-25 USD max. So very affordable, available from Amazon and places like that. It comes with a full guidebook, really, really fantastic guidebook, which of course is taking the wisdom from the Green Man. John Matthews, Mark Ryan, John Matthews, awesome writers. I love them. And of course it's a Will Worthington deck, which is of course always makes me so, as many of you know, the Druid Craft is one of my babies, as in, you know, it's kind of like a soul deck for me. So when I see Will Worthington's art, I just have to have it. And this deck is slowly becoming kind of like another baby for me, to be honest with you. I'm just loving it as well so much. So yeah, this is the Wildwood Tarot. Now, I still have not plucked up the courage to chop off the borders. I'm going to have to do that for the Druid Craft, definitely, because that's just too big to use the way it is. But this is the Wildwood Tarot. And you see, it's such a clever deck. I just love how it pulls together kind of like a slightly modern twist, and then yet the green man and the green woman, and just, yeah, the use of animals and that whole use of, I love the use of animal heads in this deck. I love it. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of this deck. Now I find this personally, see, we're just talking about another deck, I find this personally much easier to use in terms of its similarities now with the Rider-Waite-Smith. Now it's not exactly on the RWS system, just to note there are variations for sure. So I wouldn't do it exactly from RWS to this deck, but I do like kind of like, you know, the how the Five of Stones, you know, the Five of Stones is, Five Pentacles is about feeling left out, feeling isolated, in need. It really is for me the card of deprivation and the card of loss, and this says it as endurance. So I really like the twist it puts on the tail as well, and you can just see that, you know, it's a deck that really just warms my soul. So yeah, so I am using this right now for my monthly spreads, and if there is a deck that you want to use transitioning from summer to autumn, I would definitely recommend this. It's almost like, for me, it's almost as if like, yeah, the cards do just tell the story. You know, I don't need to think too much. I guess that's the kind of person I am in terms of my tarot decks. I want to be able to pick up from the image very, very quickly. And I know there are decks where it's okay to, like, I don't know, like I've recently noticed a discussion in tarot communities about decks where they're very, very abstract. This isn't, of course, but they're very, very abstract. Like there'll be 2 lines and a dot, and that's the Hierophant kind of thing. And I don't know, some people love that and they go, that's art, that's subjective. You know, and look, if that works for you, that's great. If I have to like sit there going 2 lines and a dot, that's the Hierophant. The Hierophant's part. If I have to really work hard on a card, I'm spending more time trying to figure out the original Rider-Waite-Smith meaning, or if I'm using the Thoth system, the Thoth meaning, than actually putting together the story and getting ready a reading. I guess that's the best way I'm going to put it, because ultimately the cards are part of a set that's coming out, right? I don't usually use spreads. I'm not a spread person. For me, my spread is literally as the cards come out and I lay them out. That's the story as it's getting told, basically, and it's a bit strange. And sometimes cards, I lay them out in a strange way. I don't even know sometimes that I'm doing it until I look down and I realize I've done it, and then I can read the story as it's told in the cards. And when I'm doing that, I feel really good because I can make the story. But I can't do that if I'm spending a lot of time trying to like figure out what's that meant to mean again. Yeah, and then I'm trying to piece together. I don't know if I'm making sense here, but hopefully for those of you who read tarot, especially tarot, of course, the 78 card system, hopefully you know, it's making sense to you. But yeah, I mean, right, so this is like the cover card, right, to the Wildwood, and you see this on this box. But this is why I love this card so much. For months I kept seeing the cover as it was sitting on my shelf, and then I realized I was a bit too slow to it, that this is a woman. You know, it's a female woman, because you can see clearly she has breasts, and of course that's a dress. And I just love that feminine deer, antelope. I don't know, I still don't know what that is. I just love that, what I would sometimes think of more as a masculine animal, I guess, and that's my own prejudices. You know, there's a female archetype. Yeah, just so, and then there's humans. You know, so I just yeah, I and this has no one in it. This is the wheel. So yeah, this is a deck that just yeah, just I just don't have to work hard to get an energy out of the card, and an interpretation out of the card. And if I can do that, this is exploitation. See, there you go, the 6 of Stones. complete twist on that Six of Stones. It's no longer just about giving, it's the imbalance of that giving. That's what this card is showing now. If I can pick that up and it's next to another card and it's showing something, I can just read the story so quickly. And of course the expressions on the humans, the expressions on the animals, the way they're looking at each other, it just makes reading for me so much fun. I guess that's the best way I can put it. And then I really feel like I'm connected with the deck, and the deck really becomes a channel, you know, and we become a channel for that message. So yeah, so absolutely adore this deck. By the way, this is the Three of Bows fulfillment, and at the same time there's the card, the Seer card, is very similar to this one in that sense. So yeah, it's a very clever deck. So anyway, I rattled on enough about it. I would recommend this, especially around the Mabon period, around this period as we go towards the equinox, and then we go towards Samhain, and then we go towards Yule. I mean, you can use this all year round, but very autumnal in its colours. Okay, so that's a little bit about the decks that I would suggest for this time of year, decks that I'm also trying to go and use as well and pick up. So just looking here at my notes, the other thing I just want to quickly mention, I see we're already at 21 minutes, is I have made a note of some of the feedback that I've received. One is the fact that you'd like to see, somebody had mentioned, I'd like to know your take a bit more on historical fiction. So I've noted that I'm working my way through towards things. The other one is the goddess energy, and working with goddess decks, but not just goddesses, but also for me, it's just women. I'm going to be very clear here, or the female energy. So for me, goddesses, great, thumbs up. But I am someone that's really interested also, like I've mentioned this before, but it's so dear to me, women in our history, women who are just everyday women who have been heroes of our stories, including maidens, including queens, including just you know, that kind of like the everyday woman. So I just want to say that I'm really exploring this in a way that I feel that's true to me, and it might not be for everyone, but it's true to me. And I'm also going back though to sources such as religion and spirituality. So it's a bit of a mixed bag here that's going on, but I think that's an accurate reflection of the life I live in that way. So I don't want to just do a whole goddess energy month or something, and then it's almost like the gods are over there and humans are over here. That's not how I feel about it. So yeah, so just to know that I am actually going to be looking at this, and of course Hindu goddesses are a part of that, not the only part of that, but it's a part of that. And I also note that I do need to revisit the Osho Zen, because that's one of the first decks that I picked up when I started tarot again, so, and Tarot Tube actually. So yeah, so just some comments there that I have made a note of. Before I forget, and I just want to mention, because it's such a long video, I have heard some discussions on Facebook groups about prices of decks, and currently I do know that there is an impact going on. So the impact that I understand is to do with the fact that the release dates are not always actually the true release dates. They are maybe release dates for the US that there's just been copied into Europe. I don't know what's happening in Asia, but then of course that release date is not accurate for that region of the world, and that's causing a lot of people ordering and then feeling like, you know, the orders are not being fulfilled, and that there's that one mess. The other that I found, and I just want to, and it's tied to this topic, is when decks are released in one part of the world, such as the US, much earlier than Europe. And when I say earlier, I'm talking about there can be months of difference. So for example, the Samhain Oracle that I have, Seasons of the Witch, which I absolutely adore, I'll be using this next month, and I'll go through all the decks I'm using for Samhain next month. But you know, I managed to get this in spring at a decent price, so you can see how varied it is for people in Europe. For us, when there's a new release coming, usually what happens is that the release date is not accurate and when it is released, the prices are literally double to triple the actual deck value. So the Samhain Oracle normal retail is around 20 euros, somewhere between 15 to 20 euros. When it went into astronomical prices, it was around 110 euros on Amazon. I mean, I'm not paying that kind of money. And but that just shows you the disparity. And so if there's anyone in Europe that's like struggling with like, I can't get hold of a deck, and you're seeing other people have it and it feels like a FOMO, my only suggestion would be, because this is what I had to do, was just to wait and just to not act on my FOMO, or to think that like I'm not doing this right because I don't have the deck or anything like that. I have also seen, I just want to mention this quickly, is I've also seen on trading groups in Facebook, because that deck is not available in Europe, and I saw this with Tarot of the Abyss, where the release date was different from the actual release date for Europe, and then on top of that it just went into astronomical prices, like at least on Amazon it was showing 120 euros for the deck at one point, which I was like, that's ridiculous. But what happens, and I saw this, was that I also saw people who had got hold of a copy probably somewhere else in the world and were trying to sell it to those in Europe at really high prices. And you know, this is just my opinion, of course, it's just an opinion. I really felt for those who really felt like that FOMO of wanting it. I'm just like, wait, because like this is your money, you know, this is your hard-earned money. But I can't tell other people what to buy and what not to buy, you know. I just try and keep quiet, it's none of my business in that sense. But I just really felt for those people, because I just thought people are preying upon your fear, and it's just not very nice. I felt very uncomfortable. So, you know, I'm just saying this blanket out, that you know, if you're falling into that area, like, just like, you know, save your money. That's all I can say, right? And the other thing is that yeah, so these are some of the topics I'm going to cover. I'm going to stop now. Thank you for listening. Maybe this has helped some of you. Please join me next week. I will be on to some more themes around Tarot and Oracle, but also looking at some of the books that I'm reading, because I'm reading currently some self-help books, and it might be of interest to you. Speak to you soon. Take care.